Hello, I'm David Altenhoven,
And I'm John Killian,
and we're here with some great products for you.
so pay attention.
Are you sick and tired of showing up at intellectual physics parties and having a hard time socializing with the ladies? Well, have no fear. We've created this very intellectual video to help you be able to woo the ladies whenever the conversation topic might turn to, say, oscilloscopes. From this point on, after you watch this video, you will never, ever be uninformed about how to operate an oscilloscope, and you'll be able to fit right into conversations with all kinds of women and woo them from left to right with your crazy knowledge and your flashing dazzle picked up from learning about oscilloscopes. So make sure you pay attention to the video, take a few notes along the way, and most importantly, remember to buy.
Now here's our first product.
Tektronix 2212 60 MHz digital storage oscilloscope.
The first major, most important part for wooing the ladies is to be able to A, turn on the machine. And it's simply by pressing this button, boom, and it's on. Boom, it's on.
Whoa, that's way too much DC offset for the ladies. To get it centered around 0, change it to the AC coupling. If you want it at 0, change it to ground.
Women like a man that knows what's going on. Do you know the frequency of this wave? Well, I don't think you do. But through the use of the cursor, I'll just turn it on, and then I can adjust the dial to find the different level and use it to measure the frequency of this wave. And I get about 2.28 kilohertz, which is pretty close to our 2.2 being emitted from our frequency generator. Nice and smooth.
Whoa. A guy needs to know how to use a trigger. And this oscilloscope, you can either trigger on a positive slope or a negative slope. And then you can use the level knob to decide when on the negative or positive slope you want to trigger. Early on, middle, or later. Now there are different triggering modes. PP Auto makes sure that you can't change the level outside of the triggering range. But if you switch to normal mode, you can sometimes you won't trigger because the range of trigger is outside the range of the trigger. As you can see, I can move outside of the range of the trigger. Now, single sweep sweeps through it only once and triggers only once. But I like some continuity in my modes, so I'll stay at PP Auto.
Does your waveform not look big enough? Well, thankfully, we have this Alt-Meg button, which you can just press and fool the ladies by thinking you got an actual bigger waveform by zooming in on it either 10 times or 50 times.
Was that over the top?
Maybe just a little bit.
Another option is to adjust the scale with the channel 1 volt/div knob. You can have it small scale, bigger scale, biggest scale.
Whoa, check out the Lisa Joust figure. That is just tripping my mind. How do we produce that? Oh, well, that is simply by using the XY feature of the oscilloscope, which takes channel 1 and plots it as our X coordinate, versus channel 2 is plotted as our Y coordinate. Since our frequencies are very similar, it produces this Lisa Joust.
If one graph is not enough for you, you can compare channel 1 to channel 2 with the Alt and Chop modes. Alt takes a sweep of one channel and then a sweep of another and puts them on the graph. Chop alternates points between channel 1 and channel 2. Alt is used for higher frequencies and Chop is used for lower frequencies.
Whoa, what's that sitting on top of the oscilloscope?
That is an
8111A pulse function generator 20 MHz.
Wow, not one, but two! I can't believe it!
Now, with every oscilloscope, you need a pulse function generator.
But with today's limited time offer only, you don't get not one, but two function generators. And I usually keep one in my car, and occasionally use the other as a paperweight in the office.
Now with these pulse function generators, you get many different sorts of signals. First, you get the normal sine wave, but you also get a triangle wave, or if that doesn't suit you, a box wave. But that's not all. You can also get a pulse wave.
And For your waves, you can always use the frequency button to make your waves appear faster or slower. You can also adjust the amplitude, which also is known as the height of the wave. And in pulse mode, we can also adjust the duty cycle of our pulse, which creates a longer pulse when we turn up the duty cycle.
Now, I don't like to control my frequency with the frequency knob on the pulse function generator. I prefer using a power supply. And with the VCO mode of the pulse function generator, I can do just such a thing. I can increase the voltage on the power supply and it'll increase the frequency. Likewise, if I decrease it, it'll decrease the frequency. Nifty.
On our function generator, we have a trigger output and a trigger input. The trigger input causes, when a signal is received, it causes the function generator to create an arbitrary waveform. And then when the trigger output is used, it sends out a signal to an external device, causing it to trigger.
Now I want some DC offset on my pulse function generator. And you can do that with this nifty offset button. You can control it. As you can see, I can offset it. Negative 3.3, which is pretty close. Nice.
This power supply is very easy to use. With simply plugging your ground, gets plugged into the common port, and then your hot wire either gets plugged into your 6-volt port or your 20-volt port, depending on what type of voltage you want.
And decide what type of voltage you want. It really doesn't matter as long as you know what scale you're on. And to do that, twist this knob either to the 6-volt scale, as you can see here, or the 12-volt scale, 20-volt scale, as you can see there.
If we can't buy you over with not one, but 2 free function generators, then how about we throw in an additional power supply?
6236 triple output power supply.
Yours free.
Now when you buy an oscilloscope, don't forget, you'll also get 2 free function generators. But that's not all. You'll also get a free power supply. All this can be yours for a measly price of 3 payments of $99.99. Stay tuned for next week's video where we make a game.
And if you buy our oscilloscope and get our free gifts today, we won't even try and sell you anything next week.